What's up, guys? This is Chris from Blue Collar Marketing. Welcome to Tech in 20, a video series where we go through the best in products and services surrounding the trades world in a nice digestible 20 minutes where we ask four simple questions. That's who you are, what you do, how it works, and then why you do it. So starting off with one of our first episodes of the series, super excited to have you guys on. We have Kosta and Johnny here from Jobtable with a super sick platform, which acts as very much the simplest way to grow your trades business. I've seen a lot of softwares, a lot of platforms on the market, and I think these guys have absolutely nailed building a simple tool that does a lot of the core functionality that the big guys use, but makes it very easy to digest, easy to adapt. So Kosta, Johnny, great to have you guys on here. Would love just to start off, just who you guys are. Johnny or Kosta, please feel free to start.
Chris, thanks for having us, man. This is super exciting. Love the studio. Looking fresh.
Hey, respect. Thank you, buddy.
I guess I can start. So, who I am, my name is Kosta Panagoulias. I am one of the co-founders of Jobtable. First and foremost, I'm a father to three amazing kids, husband to a beautiful wife, and a lifelong entrepreneur in a nutshell.
There we go. Awesome. How about you there, Johnny?
Yeah, so my name is Johnny Junis. Also a father of three kids, married to a beautiful wife, entrepreneur at heart as well. Own and operate a plumbing company, and also one of the founders of Jobtable.
Amazing, guys. Awesome. Perfect. Well, pumped up. I'd say meeting you guys for the first time, but we had quite a night in Toronto, which was awesome, where I got to learn a lot more about you guys and in the city there, which is awesome. So right off the start here, guys, Jobtable. Again, I love the software just because of how simple it is, and I find that's where like a lot of softwares lack. And we know how hard it is to get trades guys to actually use the software that they buy. You guys have seemed to have gotten that down to a knack there. So please tell me a little bit about Jobtable, what it is, who uses it, and let's get a nice little synopsis here.
Yeah, so Jobtable is a software for, every contractor. It helps them run their business from, quotes, invoices, scheduling, work orders, timesheets, basically all the tools that's needed to run a successful construction company. Because, as a tradesman myself, you're a professional at your craft, but, running and operating business efficiently is definitely another skill that is needed. So we did build this software basically to bridge that gap and to help all these contractors, basically bring what they do day in and day out to the client in a professional manner, essentially.
Awesome. Perfect, guys. And then just from through like the creation of this, like how from both of you guys are in field experience here, like when did the idea start? How long did it create time to take to actually develop this? Like what was the process through actually like building this tool here?
I'll take this one because I think our origin story is very unique and is something that why it makes us a little different compared to other companies. So I come from a software background for the last 15 years. Around the same time I started my first software company, Johnny and Charlie, our other partner, were starting iPlumb, which is their plumbing company. They're just starting off, two guys in a truck, hustling and grinding. Today, they're very successful. I can let Johnny explain, but 30 plus employees. They do major projects around the province. So several years ago, we came together as they were growing, they were building, but something they were lacking was a lot of like the processes and good efficiencies in their business. I was helping them go through other softwares, and nothing stuck. Everything was confusing, overwhelming, hard to use, overpriced. So we decided just to build something for them internally, just to use within their business. And to make a long story short, it was just very impactful for them right out of the gate. We decided to package it into what is now Jobtable, the simplest construction software in the world, and just to put it in the hands of as many contractors as we can. So today there's well over 1,000 contractors using it across Canada, across the US. So that's our origin story. I like to say that story because this is truly a software built by trades, for trades in every sense of the word. So, yeah.
I think that's awesome there. That's like the biggest thing I find too when we look at it, like some of these super giants with a lot of their softwares. as they develop and get funding, they start to lose the base or the core reasoning why they actually created the tool. There's such a disconnect from in field to how it actually works to how it's actually adapted. So everything I've seen from Jobtable so far seems to kind of connect the dots on that. So really kudos to you guys for actually building a software that's very much true to those values, guys. I think it's wicked on that side.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
And just to dive into there for you, Johnny, when Kosta approached you about this, like this new platform, like what it for you was the big difference between some of the maybe the tools you've already tried or were getting sold to like the ease of use of Jobtable, being like, wow, this guy's, we might be really onto something here. Like, how was that experience so much different than maybe the other tools and softwares you guys tried there?
Yeah. So kind of to piggyback off of Costa, like we tried a lot of the softwares that are out there, and listen, like every software, no matter what, they're going to claim to do the same thing, which a lot of them do, right? Now the problem is that when you step into the construction, side of things, we're an industry that we're constantly on the go, right? You're on a ladder, you're organizing, you're talking to clients. It's not your typical where you're sitting behind a computer, all day and, you're trying to learn a platform and you're trying to learn the ins and the outs. And one thing that we noticed very fast is that a lot of these softwares, they're built by software guys, right? And it's built by guys that, think they know the processes, right? When really the only people that know the processes are people who have been in it or are still in it, right?
Big time.
You can't be an apprentice for a year, with a framing company and claim to, know exactly how to build a house, right? It doesn't work like that. So one of the big things was cutting out all the fluff, right? Getting down to the nitty gritty. How can you package this and how can you simplify these guys' lives where, you don't have to go through 100 steps to do an easy task, right? A client owes you money, right? Like how quick is it to pull up that report, right? Like, why is it that everybody believes that they need an accountant? Like that was one of the biggest things, Chris, that I noticed in our industry is everybody believes that, the accountant, whatever the accountant says. And it's like, but who runs your business? Is it you or is it the accountants? You know what I mean? Like, and this is, I started to see this as I was trying to get onto a platform to help us be more efficient. And I really started to see that, there's a big missing piece in this industry that for some reason nobody has bridged that gap. So when we started creating our internal version, because that's what it was created for originally, we started to really see like, why do we need to go through steps A, B, C, and D when really all you need is steps A and D. It just has to be, presented in a certain way, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we started noticing. How do you take complex, kind of fundamentals that you need to run the business and basically present it in a way where it's very easy for a tradesman to navigate, right? And I even saw it in trade school, right? Where, a lot of these trades, you have to go to, a lot of them are dropouts. A lot of them like finished high school 10, 15 years ago. Now you're sticking them in a classroom again. And a lot of the guys, they're lost, right? Because it's just a different environment, right? So I really thought that, the simplicity behind our software was the main key, right? Giving these guys something where they have the ability to check an accounts payable, to check how they're doing throughout the year, to check, how much profit they're making on a job where they have no accounting background, right? They're just inputting certain fields that they know that they, have to in order to track, and the thing should spit it out for them in a very simplistic manner. So that was one of the biggest things when we were building this that I have to say was our key focus, right? On how do we give these guys all the tools in the most simplest form, right? And that's the target that I think that we did hit. And, we get an overwhelming response from like all of our users.
100%. No, I think that's so major, man, because I feel like for this industry too as well, like a lot of the bigger companies, it's like a lot of these guys are still tracking their stuff on timesheets or paper, or if they're super advanced, man, we're using like Excel. Like that's very almost where it goes through. And then you have some of the bigger softwares that have this very complex convoluted onboarding process that they know realistically is going to get like 40, 60% of buy-in from the people who actually need to use it there. So maybe my question to you guys there, when you guys were building this with simplicity in mind, which I think is such a key aspect of this, like for your onboarding process, like what does that typically look like for a typical client? Like it seems to me like right from the get-go, it's very easy to use out of the box, which I find is a rarity with these softwares. So from like the onboarding, like how did you guys make sure that this was a simple process for contractors to use from day one to, day 100 when they're using it throughout the whole job there?
I'll let you take that one, Kosta.
Yeah, put it this way, Chris, and I know what we're going to get into the little screen share in the end, but there is no onboarding process. Like literally, someone can sign up and start using it right out of the gate.
Awesome.
That's the difference with softwares, right? Every software is different. No matter how simple a software is, like Jobtables, there's going to be a learning curve, of course, as with anything new. The difference comes down to how long does that learning curve last, right? So, for example, other big softwares, that learning curve literally might be several weeks to months. A learning curve for Jobtable, I think, is literally less than an hour. And that's what we set out to do. Our onboarding is seamless. There's literally no onboarding. You can start using it right out of the way. It's very dummy proof. Kind of impossible to kind of get stuck or lost. Once I like to use this story, we've made it simple yet powerful enough for the most tech savvy person to use it, successfully, but at the same time, simple enough for an employee like Johnny's, who's a 67-year-old who just got a smartphone this year, and he was up and running in like 15 minutes. So that just gives you an idea of how simple it is.
Big time. No, 100%. I feel like that's when you have something good too as well. Like if you can either explain something in as little as 2 sentences or within an hour, or have a tool that is very simple but powerful, that's like the balance that you wanna strike there, guys. So I think that's money on that side. Before we go into the screen share here, where you can actually show people how this tool works, for someone that's watching this that doesn't know about Jobtable, is just getting involved in terms of like maybe I want to choose a software. If you could like say your perfect clients or your perfect customer, someone who really benefits or you guys find benefits from Jobtable, what do those people typically look like? Is there a certain industry, certain company size? Is it very broad? Like what do those people kind of look like, guys?
It's any business owner that basically wants to take control of their business, right? Like that's what it really comes down to. We got guys from, one guy in a truck all the way to guys with, 40 employees, right? It's all about efficiency, right? In order to job cost, like just to touch base on what you were saying before, Chris, like, in order to do job costing, in order to pull reports, in order to stay on top of everything, a lot of this, in our industry, the reality is it's a lot of hired help, right? Okay, I'm going to hire, this person in the office. This person helps me with this. This person helps me with that. Which again, when you're hiring, that's more employees, more overhead. How do you take control of that, right? What happens if you hire a girl, which again, has kind of like, it kind of fits into our story, but what happens if, your secretary decides, like she got pregnant, she had a kid, and she's not coming in, right? What happens if somebody found a job somewhere else? What happens to your business, right? And this is what I always tell everybody. You created a business. Your craft is whether you're a framer, a plumber, an electrician, that's what you do. That's what you know in and out, right? And again, you probably have some business sense in you, right? So if you need, a power drill, right, to help you drill holes faster, right? Why wouldn't you take a software, right, that puts total control in your hand, no matter where you can be on vacation, you know what I mean? And everything is in your pocket, right? It's like when the iPhone came out, right? Why do I need this smartphone? I have my flip phone, right? Well, look at the power it packs in such a small screen, right? Look at everything you can do from a smartphone compared to the phones we were using before. And this is what it comes down to in software. Look, there's a lot of softwares out there, but I challenge anybody to put it to the test. The simplicity, okay? The learning curve, right? Like Kosta touch base. I got a 67-year-old guy on staff, right? That to send a text message was like pulling teeth for him, right? This guy picked up Jobtable in 15, 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So when anybody tells me that, oh, I don't need a software, oh, I don't got time for it, right? It's just a matter of time. Now, people either want to take that plunge now or they want to take it later, right? And what I tell everybody, you want to take control, you need to take the 20, 30 minutes to give it a shot, right? And once you give it a fair shot, it's like I tell everybody, once you see it, it cannot be unseen,
Yeah.
right? People that are still using QuickBooks and again, you know, and other accounting softwares, I'm not saying you don't need them, right? But when you actually see what it takes to operate that software compared to what it takes to operate Jobtable, it's night and day, right? And no matter, like I said, if you're one guy in a truck or if you're one person with 40 employees, take control of your business, right? Sign up,
Absolutely.
give it a shot, 14-day free trial. You have nothing to lose. You have all the time to gain.
Big time. 100%. I think too, guys, like when it comes about taking the leap there, like if you can, as you said, man, hold 20, 30 minutes to learn this tool here, like your guys' pricing compared to a lot of the other market is, I would say, one of the most approachable pricings when it comes to software. So for me, it's a little bit of it's a no-brainer for these guys. If you can fucking save 30 minutes of your time and take a leap for, you guys are what, 50 USD a month there?
Yeah. And
That's
and
a,
that's and that's one of the biggest things I ask all the clients, like, you know, whether we're on a demo or whether somebody's asking for it. I always come back to, you know, what's the biggest commodity today, right? Time, right? So I always come back to like, what's your time worth? You know what I mean? Everybody's looking
big
at
time.
me, you know, like deer in the headlights. So, you know, what's your hourly rate, right? And it's like, you know, you get a ride arrangement, you know, $80 an hour, $100 an hour, 125, 130 an hour, right? And it's like, well, if the software is saving you on average, you know, like on the low end, 3 hours a week, right? And it's costing you 50 US a month, right? Like, show me any investment that you have that type of return on investment. You know what I mean? And like,
Absolutely.
I'm all in, you know? And
100%.
when you kind of frame it like that, guys kind of, you know, they perk up a little bit, right? Because that's what it comes down to, right? What is it meant to do? There's a bunch of softwares out there. It's meant to streamline your business, give you all the tools that you need, 30 to 60-minute learning curve, and you're off to the races, right? I don't see how there can be any argument that goes against that, right?
Absolutely. As much even too, just to give it a try, like you're really losing nothing at that point. And the significant effect I find of just even having a more efficient operation, like you're going to get an ROI within probably a week of using something like this. So that's money
100%.
there. So without further ado, guys, let's see how this tool works here. We do call it Tech in 20, but Costa, man, take your time. It could be Tech in
Yeah.
25, Tech in 30. Absolutely no rush. Um,
Yeah.
Feel
Well,
free to share your screen there, and we'll get rolling on this here.
let me kick it off here. All right. Do you see my screen here?
Yes, sir. We're live. Perfect.
All right. So, you know, I won't go into too much detail, but, you know, essentially, this is the app. When you first log in, this is what you're seeing, like nice big color coded buttons. You know, we color code each section just to reference which area you're in. So right out of the gate, very simple, very clean. You know exactly like, you know, where you're going. You're not kind of inundated with so much information and data and menus and tabs. So it's very simple. Um, a couple of key sections, which I guess, you know, I'll get into. I like to always start with the clients area. So this is, you know, no matter what business you're in, no matter what industry you're in, one of the most important assets in any business is your database, your contacts, your clients. And we find just a lot of businesses, they don't have an organized way to manage your contacts. So we have clients here, just a very simple CRM, a way to manage and store your contacts, your clients. So that's clients. Quotations. This is the yellow section here. So this is where you can manage all of your quotes, anything you're working on, anything that's pending, quotes that have been approved. Johnny touched on this as well. So in every section, we have this little overview box. So this is a real-time financial snapshot on what's going on for each section. So for example, in this case, I can see I'm working on a quote worth 20,000. I have 17 pending quotes that are worth 29,000 that are out, and this is what's approved. And what we also find in in construction with trades. To put it bluntly, there's a lot of companies out there that are leaving a lot of money on the table when it comes to
100%.
the quote side, right? So think about it. You send out a quote, someone calls you, you send out a quote, you put it together, send it to the client, and that's it. Now you're wearing multiple hats. You're working on this, going to the job site. Before you know it, that quote that you send out has been won by another contractor because you haven't followed up, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's something that a lot of contractors don't realize. When you send out a quote, you're engaging in a sales process. There has to be some communication, some follow up with that. So, we've done very simple things to kind of help with that. So when you do send out a quote with Jobtable, there's automated emails that get sent out if that quote hasn't been approved. Those are very effective to get replies back from clients. And then everything's right in front of you right here too. So you can, see all your pending quotes. Okay, these are the quotes that are pending. They haven't been approved. You can action them, send reminders to clients. So everything's right in front of you. We try to make it very dummy proof, help you not leave money on the table, but make more money. And it starts with the quote side.
Yeah.
So that's quotations. To create a quote, very simple. I won't get into it, but you're adding your client, you're selecting a job, and now you're just adding line items. So you start
There you
typing,
go.
save line items, kind of populate, boom, just keep going.
All
So
very intuitive too, man. Like a lot of softwares I find like things are just tucked in to random spots. Like if you want to add a client, if you want to change something, you want to update it, it's like there's a very simple spot to access that information. So in terms of the layout there, like very, very intuitive.
yeah, super clean. You can drag and drop order of line items. That's it. Terms and conditions. You can add attachments to quotes, and that's it. One click. Now it's generating a PDF here in a second. So there's your quote. Nice layout. Customize obviously the style or the colors. Make it branded to your company, and that's it. Away you go. Send it to the client. And just like that. There's a couple of built-in things that are unique too. So when you send out a quote or an invoice, you actually get notified when the client opens up the quote or invoice. So that's very helpful on the sales side, on the collection side as well. So that's quotes in a nutshell. Coming back here, next tab is jobs. So this is that orange button here. So jobs is essentially the hub of the app right here. So when a quote gets approved, you can now manage all of your jobs right through here. So for instance, if you have this job here on the go, you can see the summary, all the invoices you've sent, what's paid, what's outstanding, a quick snapshot here. You can add attachments on the job. So floor plans, files, folders, like any documents that you want to stay organized with, and access from anywhere on site, give access to your team. Job costing. So this allows you to manage your costs, your expenses, see what actual profit you're making for a job. So we make it very easy to add costs like materials, labor, equipment rentals, whatever the case is. You can manage all your invoices for the job through here, your quotations. You can add events in a schedule for this job. You can see all your line items that, what has been invoiced, what's remaining for each line item. So almost like a digital schedule of values. There's a daily log section, which allows you to document progress, updates, what's going on just for your own internal. That's helpful for a lot of companies. And we have this is great too. So it's a history of everything that's happened for this job. So when you sent the quote, when it got approved, so everything's timestamped, logged just for accountability. So you kind of remember things very easily. So that's essentially the jobs. Do anything for this job. And
Nice.
when it comes to invoicing, most important part for most companies, obviously. So, make invoicing very simple too. So you basically select the line item, how much you want to invoice in full, and away you go, proceed. So, that's how fast it is to send invoices out. I can't tell you how many contractors I speak to who are backlogged with invoices that are just sitting there. Now they're strapped with cash flow that like 20, 30 invoices they have to send. It's like you can literally pull out your phone without getting vulgar from the toilet and like send out invoices if you wanted to. So there really should be no excuse to ever have a backlog of invoices. That's something that I can never wrap my head around. So that's how easy it is to send an invoice. Schedule. So we have a very simple schedule here. You can, just manage your calendar, manage services, jobs, assign events to team members, things like that. So just a very simple, intuitive calendar here to keep your day organized. Uh, this work orders is a uh, very useful section for service companies. So if
Yeah.
you're a company that does any type of service work, this is a super helpful way to make that process more seamless and efficient. So it just allows you to create a work order literally right on site after that service is done that shows the client, your time, your material. You can get them to sign off on it, and then you can invoice a work order in one click. So this helps. A lot of service companies love work orders. It's a very popular feature. And time tracking. So this is timesheets. So digital timesheets. Most companies out there are still doing paper logs.
Oh yeah.
Company the other day that's managing their employees, like they're just literally texting the owner their hours every day, and they're taking that text message and putting it God knows where. So this is a very simple way for employees to manage their time. I'm just showing you the mobile view here. So everything I'm showing you, this is an app as well. You can get the app on your any device. So this is how it will look on your phone. So if you have employees, they'll see big clock. Start the clock. And that's it. You end your day, stop the clock, and you're just adding the entry which job you were at. If you want to add multiple jobs, and that's it. So now, as an employer or administrator responsible for the timesheets, this is your full portal. So you can see all the hours, like approve hours, edit hours. So you can totally eliminate any paper logs, tracking. This feature alone saves companies. I'm talking like, at least five hours a week, I see easily.
100%. You can tell it's well thought out too, in terms of talking about something that's like built from the bottom up, like just having that option there that says forgot to clock out. I can only imagine how often that's used every single day in terms of guys like forgetting. Just even having that is like, okay, that's thought of the industry. You know what I mean? Like guys are always going to forget clocking in. Like having that option front, right, and center is probably saving these guys boatloads of time, because the guys who are working can be a little bit of dummies and just forget to hit it on the app, So that's perfect.
And I think that's also the beauty of being in the industry, because me having 30 plus employees, I deal with it all the time, right?
Yeah.
So we put some on this section, just like in just quickly, like we even put some kind of features in there where if there was an adjustment made manually or whatever, there is a flag, so at least the admin knows, right? So that before they go to approve any hours, they can, if they see a flag, it's kind of like, okay, why did you forget to clock in? And it's like, oh, I forgot because X, Y, and Z. And it's like, well, I told you need to sign in on time, because if I start seeing these flags all the time, that just tells me, like, are you actually starting at that time, right? So it really helps the employer, right? Like it helps the business owner, like track everything and kind of be on top, right? And where clients or employees can't really put too many things past you, right? Because you are busy, right? You're trying to run the company, right? You're wearing a bunch of hats, right? So this is where having a tool in your pocket that can kind of act as, your project manager and your admin and kind of your foreman at the same time, like kind of, the eyes at the back of your head, that this is what it's for, right?
Absolute. No, 100%.
Yeah. And just to wrap up, the last kind of module here is reports. So very useful reports in here. You can just come in, profit and loss. You see all your invoice revenue broken down by paid, unpaid, overdue, your expenses. You can generate reports, filter every report by client or job. So for example, if you want to see how profitable a job was, you can just select that job. There you go. You can send these reports directly to your accountant or, whoever. One of my favorite reports here, accounts receivable. So here you can see all the unpaid revenue, how long it's been unpaid. And again, filter that by client or job. So if you want to see, okay, this Christian, how much does he owe me? There you go. It's broken down by invoice, by amount. You can send them account statements. So the most useful reports for your business right here. By the way, I can't tell you how many times clients tell us, like, man, I'm saving so much money on my accountant because I'm much more organized now. I literally just send them these reports and it makes their life way easier as well. So you're getting that side as well. So that's actually, I want to show one small feature here, which is we've always had it, but it's a loved feature that actually saves a ton of time. It's a very simple one. So we have a custom forms section here. So just to I'm not sure if you'll see this reactions. All right, so yeah, this is a custom form. So you can basically build out your own custom form. So for example, this is a request service form. So you can build it out, collect the information that you want, like what service you're looking for, the date. So the use case here that where a lot of contractors use. So think about your contractor. A lot of the times, maybe your cell phone is on your company website. So you're getting a random call in the middle of the day. You're probably like on the tools, on the job, doing something. And what do you do with that person? You're now you're taking out your phone or a pen and paper, like to take down their information. Like, what's your name? What's your email, phone number? Sorry, did you say 4 or 5? And it just gets very messy. So instead of that, it's like, hey, no problem. Thanks for reaching out. I'm gonna text you over a service form to your phone. Just fill it out. It's gonna come directly to me. Once we get that, I'm gonna send you a very detailed quote. So it's like, boom, you eliminate that inefficiency. It sets the tone right away. You sound way more professional, more efficient, and so that's a very simple yet effective use case for request service forms. So that's
Absolutely.
it. That's
Yeah,
a nice.
and also when the client fills it out, all their information funnels into that client section that Costa showed you at the beginning. So, if you do have to prepare a quote, an hour later, the next day or whatever it may be, all the information's funneled into there and it's done correctly, right? Because they're filling it out, their email, their phone number, their address, right? So, yeah, just again, efficiency, simplicity, um, it's key for us.
Absolutely. I like the flexibility of the custom forms is sweet too. I see on the right there when you're showing it there, Costa, like it looks very easily shareable too as well. Like one of the biggest things that especially for guys in like the HVAC or any type of like maintenance industry is like having like service request forms or maintenance request forms and just having something that they can usually just pop on a website or just send to people, I think is money rather than being like, oh, let me log into my CRM and try and figure a way for you to get access to the form. You guys have it super easy to share like
Yeah,
from an embed and then as well as like actually that direct link, which I think is perfect.
exactly. So yeah, that's the software. There's your tech
Tip
and
guys.
simplest construction software in the world right here.
There we go. Love it, lads. Love it. Absolutely love it, man. So as we're wrapping out here, thank you so much for the demo. In terms of final words from you guys, if I'm a person looking towards dabbling into software, why should I look at Jobtable before anyone else? Is like a nice quick. Why you guys instead of anyone else here?
Look, if you're someone who is serious about, being a business owner, growing a business, and just not getting stuck in your day to day and just being in a hamster wheel, and you're looking to gain a lot of your time back and enjoy life and spend time with your family and just not being caught up all the time, use Jobtable. Forget Jobtable. Use any software. Use a software to make your life more efficient. But try Jobtable because I guarantee you're going to find it to be the most simplest construction software, in the world. And I keep saying that because it's very literal. Literal. Like, show me another software that's simpler than what I just showed you. We have a 14-day free trial. Try it out. So yeah, that's my quick pitch.
There we go. Love it, guys. Awesome. Well, Costa, Johnny, thank you so much for taking the time here to be here and showing off Jobtable. For everyone watching too, we'll have a link in the bio or a link in the description to jobtable.com. 14-day free trial and then $50 a month after that. To me, it's a no-brainer. So if you guys are thinking of using a software or getting your business up to speed, I would definitely recommend giving Jobtable a try there. Thank you guys so much for coming, and we'll be in touch and we'll be chatting later. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate
Thank
the
you,
time.
Chris.
Awesome.